Okay, now we have a story. I assume that you have a story. Um, let's start to visualize the narrative. Before going to talk more about visualization of the story, um, in the previous session I told you that every story has a beginning, a middle, and end. Well, let's be a little bit more detailed. So, you have to start your story with an introduction or an establishment. Um, and then something happens. Something happens and the tension and action rises, and then climax. Boom. You're in the climax. The moment of the climax is when you just say your word, is the time you deliver your message, the time you impact on your audience more than any other time. And then the action falls and you come to a conclusion or resolution. But a transformation has happened. The world was beautiful and shiny, and now everything is just exploded and zombies are everywhere. He was a coward, but now is a brave man. So let me give you some example. It's actually like a chemistry. Is your pass card working? Do you have this?
Oh, yeah.
So you can use it every time you come in the class. Or have a seat. It's okay. Have you seen the chemistry classes of Professor Hunter? You didn't? Oh, they're amazing. Professor Hunter, chemistry. There's lots of fun here, but let's imagine this. Okay. This is our story. Imagine this is our story. These are the characters, the environment, mom, dad, I don't know, her boyfriend, whatever. Everything is normal. An inciting incident creates some tension, rising actions, more tensions, and then we go for the climax. And the actions fall, and then what remains at the end is different than what we have at the beginning. The elements has fused to each other, and something new is created. So you already have seen a couple of movies in Film Minute website. Have you seen this one? Oh, you didn't? Let's have a look at that. Introduction. A woman who is beaten, water, washing. Oh, something is broken. Rising tensions, thinking. What happened to her face? Tension rises. The sound of the fan. Wine bottle. Is this wine or blood? Climax. she has killed him. Look at her eyes. This is the resolution. This is the conclusion. Okay, so in 1 minute, we had she looks a good housewife. Even after killing her husband, she starts to doing some chores and again cleaning the house. So she's been beaten. So she was a victim, but now a transformation. A transformation has happened. From a victim, innocent people, she is now a killer. And all of this happens by visual language. So you can tell your stories, but you have to follow some rules. At the beginning, introduce your elements, introduce your environment, introduce your characters, and then start to dropping some inciting incidents, and start to drop some bombs, and then just something happens, and finally you just reveal your main message. So it's possible. We have time limits. You only have 30 to 60 seconds to deliver your message. Is it possible? Yes, because we have one of the most powerful weapons, and that's image. You don't need to talk about some concept like a book or write an article. Just one single image can express an idea very eloquently, because of the undeniable power of image. A picture says 1,000 words. You have heard of this phrase a lot. So try, if you have noticed, I didn't push you to go for a storyboarding. I didn't want you to, okay, this is the first session, you write a story and let's do some storyboarding. This is what others do. But I just wanted you first to come up with some idea, and then I want you to know what is a beautiful, lovely, and expressive shot. Your single frame should say everything about your story. So we are going to explore the art of visual storytelling. We start with thumbnailing. Why people in the industry call it thumbnailing? Because we start to draw some very tiny little drawings, very basic drawings. You spend like less than a minute for one of them. So here, it's not Da Vinci, so you don't need to be Da Vinci. You just have to draw some lines, Here, I know that this is a close-up. There are some trees behind him and some guy over there. I know that this is a top angle from. I am watching a fight from top, so I see. By just 3 lines, I see the perspective. I just see some people are fighting. Here, here some guy just entered it seems like a castle. So with just few lines, you just have to use some very, very simple lines, even more simple. This guy just has used some majestic figures to express his ideas. So, just you got a story. As she explains her story, she is explaining a series of events. Just pick 4 or 5 most important events. Okay? When you are telling this story, what comes into your mind? Just pick a couple of them and draw some thumbnails for them. And then, but every thumbnail will be a shot. Shot, everything you do in this industry is based on a shot. Shot is building block of motion pictures. If you're doing games, animations, movies, TV commercials, I don't know, motion graphics, even art installations, you are always, every day, dealing with shots. A shot is a series of frames that runs for an uninterrupted period of time. So, when you say action, your shot begins. And when you say cut, your shot ends. So, that duration is your shot. So, those thumbnails are for shots of my movie, a couple of shots of my movie. At this moment, don't think about how they are going to come together. Do they match? We don't think about them now. We will think about them later. So, at the moment, no need to be worried about editing. And then, I told you that draw 3, 4, 5 thumbnails for your story. Just pick one of them or two of them and develop them. Add some colors, some more details, or even you can use Photoshop if you cannot draw. Well, clearly, this guy is, with some simple Photoshop technique, is saying that my story is about someone who every night he dismantles himself and every day he assembles himself again. Or there are a couple of apps for iPad, iPhone, or Android. If your story, where your story happens, the story of where is it happening? In a bathroom. In a shower. In a shower. Okay. You go and take pictures of the shower, and then you add your elements. It doesn't need to be very clean, because whatever we are doing here is supposed to be discussed in a group. They are not supposed to be shown to the client. So it doesn't need to be clean and clear. So just some simple Photoshop collage is enough. Okay. For the next session, tomorrow, for your thumbnails, what you should do, what elements you have to consider. I just want you to think about the basic features of a shot. The first thing about a shot is the shot size. Well, when you see a movie, there are a couple of shots. Extreme long shot, very long shot, medium long shot, mid shot, medium close-up, big close-up, and extreme close-up. So, what is the difference between them? The center of cinematic board, never forget. The center of cinematic board, whatever. TV commercial, cinema, animation. The center of everything is human's eye. So, and then the human itself. So when I say a long shot, I mean a long shot of a human. The longer a shot, when I use long shots, I am going to express some events. I am going to introduce some environment. But when I get closer, I am going to reveal some emotions. So, when you are writing your story, again, just start telling us your story, how your story begins.
Okay, so we've got the girl in the shower, and it's probably maybe starts maybe pans out a bit, and she is daydreaming in the shower.
Stop. We have a girl on the shower. Shower. She is daydreaming. So the beginning, a girl in the shower. I don't want at this shot. I don't want to know what she is thinking of. I just want her to introduce her character to us. So she has to start with some long shots in a classical way. So these are guidelines. You can always break them. So, but in classical manner, so you'd better start with a long shot, and then she is daydreaming. That's a emotional explanation of the story. Okay, so why not go forward and just why not use some closer shots? Also, well, I am going to make a story about her. Okay, where the camera should be. This is the camera. My eyes are the camera. The camera should be in the level of her eyes. So, as I told you, the center of cinematic world is human's eye. The level of your camera is also in the level of your main character. If she is a short baby, so and you are going to tell the story from her her angle of view, then you have to bring down the camera into her eye level. If it's a dinosaur, the camera should be in the level of dinosaur's eyes. So, but when I look at her from my angle, I am a dominant, powerful view. I am a powerful camera for the viewers. She is powerless. But what if I just look at her like a baby from down? She is powerful and the camera is powerless. So this is the normal way of looking at your character, eye level. But she is alone. She is lost. But this one, she is powerful. She is gorgeous. So you inject meaning into your shot by selecting shot size or camera angle. Remember, this is motion captures. This is cinema. This is not theater. You are not obliged to use one single medium shot with an eye level all the time. You can take your camera and take it everywhere. So approach to your subject from different angles, different sizes, and different lens types. Who has used professional photography lenses before? Who? Just raise your hand. 1, 2, 3. Great. Not bad. We will discuss about the lens and the qualities of the lens and the optics of the cinema. But at the moment, just think of that we have wide lenses, normal lenses, and telephoto lenses. When I am going to reveal a place, when I need more perspective like this, I use a wide angle lens. Most of the times I use normal lens. But if I want to shrink the perspective, if I want to flatten the picture, I use a telephoto lens. I'm plugging the camera and we are going to see some I have to turn it on. Okay, so uh, live view. I have a wide lens on this camera now. A wide lens that turns into a normal lens. Okay. Okay. And come closer. So when I look at your friends, this is a normal way of looking at her. Okay. So look at the lens. Yes, this is the lens. You're the actress now. So high angle, eye level, low angle. So imagine that I am a tiny little creature. I'm an ant, and she is a giant. So this is a normal lens. I want to explore not herself, but her surrounding. So I go for a wide angle. So this wide angle works very well because I want to say that this is, let's say the story is like that. This is her class, and she is here, and she is planning to make a airplane in this class. I don't know. Right in the middle of these boring discussions, she's exploring, she's inventing some new quantum mechanics. So the story begins like that. A class that everyone is just working and a boring teacher. So, but what about the wrong way of using a lens or creative way of using lens? When I approach her by a wide angle lens, look at to the lens. The lens distorts her face because is imposing lots of perspective to her face. Or let's just come closer to the lens. Yes, he was. That's why the rappers and hip hop artists use a wide angle lens, because it distorts them and they impose their objectivity to the camera. So let me change the lens. I want to expose to those friends with a telelens instead of. So a wide lens explores the environment. A wide lens is increasing perspective. A telephoto lens is emotional. Okay, so let's turn it on. Again, I want to approach her, but this time, let me just increase. We need some light. Oh, yeah. This time, let me just. Okay, and I put that here. Okay. This time, her picture into the frame, inside the frame, doesn't look so imposing. It's more gentle and more sincere. So, every time you want to show someone a face with a in a natural way, and everyone to most of the time you use. Let me just turn it off. Most of the time you just use normal lens. But when you are going to reveal some perspective and the world, you use wide angles lenses. If you want to convey some emotional meanings, if you want to show a character in a more proper and more beautiful way, you use telephoto lenses. Well, there's no need to explain that when you are going to shoot wildlife, that you need to be very far from your subject, so you use telephoto again. But we are using telephoto in a cinematic way for aesthetics of storytelling. Okay, so your assignment for the next session, I mean tomorrow, talk with your friends, come up with a story. Your story may change because at the end of third week you are going to go for shooting, you are going to book the green screen room or other studios, you are going to hire cameras. So your story may change until that moment, but you should start with somewhere. Have your stories, draw a couple of thumbnails, just few thumbnails, and develop at least 2 of them. So let us explore your style, your world, your colors, your composition of the shot, your lenses. For example, you will tell me that in this shot I am planning to use a wide angle lens. I am planning to use a telephoto lens. Great.